started our Overcoming Addictions class exactly 4 weeks ago. And this is supposed to be our last one, the last class. But during the course of the class, God has done something. He, we came together, we was going to teach 4 classes, 1 hour each, but God's done something. He has breathed on this group, and it's taken on a life of its own. God is doing something. So, Chef Whisnant, we're going, as far as God takes us with this group, we're going, and I want you to know that you're going to be talking to, I want you to know who you're going to be speaking to today. And this group is a group of overcomers. You know, they're in their stages where they are, but they're going to overcome. Amen. By the power of God. And because God is at work doing something. And this morning, the message was compassion. So, when we look at you, that's what we're getting on. We're getting a compassionate man. Somebody who is going to do something about the situation. And we love that about you. And I have 2 quotes that I took from the article that you wrote in the News Herald. And you said, it's really caused me to be passionate about it. And I'm trying to reach out and do everything that we can. That's one. And the other one was, we really need to make a positive difference in this. Yeah. So we are honored. And I'm elated that you're here. And you said yes when the lonely called. You said yes. That's awesome to me. So we're honored to have you come, and we're going to let you come and stay as long as you want to. Okay?
Thank you very much. And if I need to hold this mic, let me know. If not, if you can hear me okay, I am honored to be here as well. And I'll give you just a brief history of myself so you understand why I have that passion. I started the sheriff's office when I was 20 years old. At age 29, I was actually asked to be appointed sheriff, and the sheriff was retiring, and I really didn't want to do that. It sounds kind of strange to hear a sheriff say you don't like politics. I have no use for partisan politics. So at 29, I didn't think I could get elected for 6 terms to have 30 years of law enforcement. So I ended up, the board opened the door for me. I was offered a job in federal law enforcement. I didn't even have to move. So I took that job. I spent 22 years with the federal government. I ended up being the chief of youth federal probation office in the Eastern District of Virginia. There's 94 districts in the nation. I waited until my kids were grown, actually before I took that job, because I had no desire to leave Burke County. I got to work in federal law enforcement from almost my whole career until I took the chief's job. And my last 30 months was in Richmond, Virginia, serving the Eastern District, which covers Virginia's divided into 2 districts, and I had the East and another chief had the West. I enjoyed that. God really opened some doors there, and I came back and after retiring, and for the second time in my life, I was asked to be appointed sheriff. Again, I can tell you that I'm a type A personality. When I retired and came home after I got my wife's to-do list done, she just kept adding to it. So I could see quickly I was not going to get done. And so I called the current sheriff and said, do you have anything you want me to do? I said, Renee's going to kill me. My wife's name's Renee. And I resigned from Renee Enterprise and went back to work at the sheriff's office. Really, and my prayer had been, God, show me where you want me to go. I'm willing now. My kids are grown. My wife, she's busy on her own too. So I was really open to do anything. And so these doors started opening, and I went to work as a strategic planner for the sheriff's office, making some ideas, suggestions of what we could do. I was then asked to take over Boca County Jail. They had some issues. I was the administrator there. I was asked to be the major for a retired major at the sheriff's office, and that major actually retired, and then the sheriff decided he was going to retire. So again, the second time in my life, I was asked to be appointed sheriff, and this time I felt like that was God's will, so I took it. I say that to say this. I can tell you guys, when I was a rookie cop on the street versus where we are in North County now, substance abuse is driving crime. And I saw that very quickly when I came back to the sheriff's office. I'm going to give you some stats to make my point. The SBI has a diversion group, and the Attorney General reported last year that there was a 400% increase in prescription-related cases in the past 5 years. 80% increase every single year. Project Lazarus, I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they're a group that started about 4 or 5 years ago. They're out of Wilkes County. They had a overdose death rate that was one of the top rates, not in just the state, but in the country. They had a group of people come together and said, we have got to do something about this. So they came together and started a program called Project Lazarus. Now, they've come to Burke County a couple times, and I've went to some of their training, but let me give you the stats that they shared with me last year about Burke County. Burke County led our region in drug overdose deaths in 2000 through 2010. We had 191 deaths in Burke County. Per capita, we have more than double the state average of deaths in 2008 through 2010. Per capita, Burke County led the region in drug-related emergency department visits in 2011. Per capita, Burke County has led the region in outpatient prescriptions for 2010 to 2011. Charlotte TV station reported last year on May 4th, and I've heard this statistic over and over, but they reported drug overdoses deaths have now surpassed car crashes as the #1 cause of accidental deaths. Guys, when you see how many people driving on the road, you realize there are more people dying from accidental drug overdose deaths than from car wrecks. That's pretty sobering statistic. Associated Press shared a statistic last year. Drug overdose deaths rose for the 11th straight year, federal data shows. Most of them were accidents involving addictive painkillers despite growing attention to the risk of these medications. So it's not just Burke County. Burke County has its share, but there is a national prescription drug epidemic, and we're seeing it everywhere. Let me share just 2 quotes from 2 different treatment providers, 2 large treatment providers. One of them is the largest treatment provider in Philadelphia, and in the whole state of Pennsylvania. Between North Carolina and New York, there is a national prescription drug epidemic. Now that's something that people are recognizing more and more and more. And then the largest treatment provider in the nation said, my biggest concern is the number of high schoolers and young adults that are getting involved in prescription opiates and then transfer very quickly over to heroin. This is true in the Northeast Corridor. Of course, we're in the Northeast Corridor. And one of the great things, and I've been able to say this until relatively recently, heroin has not really been in Burke County to that great of a degree until very recently. We have had 1 heroin arrest, but I attended a sheriff's funeral. Sheriff of Wayne County died a couple of weeks ago in office, and there was 4 sheriffs that rode together down to that funeral, and every one of them have been seeing a spike in heroin. So heroin is making a comeback. I saw very little heroin when I was at the sheriff's office before, but we're seeing it. Now, and I share this with people that this is a different group. You guys have experiences, you understand substance abuse. In a lot of places I speak, they don't understand it. But I tell them this. Some people think, well, why are you telling me this? It doesn't affect me. And I can tell you that if you're a taxpayer, it affects you. The statistics are showing that almost everyone we're arresting now has substance abuse issues. It really hit home about a year ago. I was in the sheriff's office, and I was there working on Saturday, and we had a guy that had been brought in by the detective, and we had a rash of heat pump thefts. Now, heat pump thefts were very popular until the legislators changed the law where it's very difficult for you to sell the copper out of a heat pump. That little coil in there is worth about $100. You carry out $3,000 or $4,000 to get the coil out and go sell it for $100. Legislators made it difficult to sell those, and when they implemented that law, we have seen the heat pump theft drop dramatically. And at this time, it was still not having an effect yet because the law had been passed. And I was in there, and I said a year ago, it's actually been 2 years ago, because this is when I really got started focusing on what I was speaking to you about today.